Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Brittany in France. Brittany is this big sticky out peninsula on the side of France in the west, sticking out into the Atlantic Ocean, bordering the English Channel and the Bay of Biscay down here. Now, for the most part, this region's pretty low-lying, kind of flat. It's a coastal area, so there are rocky parts along the shore, lots of interesting, like, crevices, I guess, along the shore, especially down here. But there are some mountainous parts. You can see them labeled here. We have Montagne d'Arrée, the Arrée Mountains here. And over here is Montagne Noire, the Noir Mountains, the Black Mountains. Also, it being a coastal region here, there's many islands surrounding it, lots of small little bitty ones around. You can see them in italicized font here. All along the coastline, there's so many different islands. They're also quite close to the Channel Islands. Can you see them? Make sure you can see the Channel Islands here. Yep, there is one. If you didn't know, the Channel Islands are part of the UK. There's Guernsey and Jersey right there. Not too far off. The capital is Rennes, right here, or English we'd say Rennes, in the center here. But there are lots of other major cities. The ones we're mainly going to talk about is Saint-Malo up here along the coast, and Brest over here, which if you watch my videos, you know we just talked about Brest over in Belarus. And this was a thorn in my side, because whenever I typed in this name, France popped up, and then I had to sort through all the France sources to get to Belarus. So every time this popped up, I was like, hold your horses, I'll talk about you in a minute. It's just a few weeks ago. And they're sister cities as well, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Brest, or just Brest as we'd say in English. But like I said in the Belarus video, I'm not quite sure how happy YouTube would be if I pronounced it that way multiple times throughout the video. So we'll stick with the French pronunciation with that weird French R, Brest. Sounds like you're choking a little bit on the R sound. Now there's a lot of interesting facts about this region, but I'll tell you my two favorite. One of them is that there are some languages in this region that are only really spoken here. Of course, we speak French in France, right? But there are two other languages. One of them is Breton. Breton is spoken mostly like in this area, like along the coast here and in this half of the peninsula. The other one is Gallo, which is spoken more on this side and then stretching out into Normandy and so on and so forth, kind of more out here. Gallo is a Latin-based language, like French, English, so on and so forth, Spanish. But Breton is a Celtic language. It's very similar to Welsh or Cornish, way up there, in those little busy islands over there. It's very interesting, right? So, you might be wondering, how come there's a language similar to Welsh spoken over here? How come this place is called Brittany? It's Britannia in French, by the way, when Britannia is just in those islands up there, not too far away. That's Britannia. Why is this also pretty much Brittany, Little Britain, right? Why is it called that? Well, we'll talk about that in history, but before we do that, we have to talk about the beginnings of history here, which leads me to my second favorite fact about Brittany, if if you know me through this channel, you know that I love stone circles, ancient stone megaliths, dolmens, things like that. And Brittany is chock full of them, especially along the coast area here. There's so many, it's wild. So we're starting history with the ancient Celtic people that settled in this corner of the land that we now call France. I wrote in my notes cool stone stuff because, yeah, they built all kinds of different tumuli and dolmens, things like that. The most interesting one being located around here. It's not labeled on my map, but it is the Karnak stones. The Karnak stones were built sometime between 4500 BCE and 3500 BCE. And it's a massive site. It's huge, but what's interesting about the Karnak stones is that they're not in a circle like Stonehenge or multiple stone circles that you'll find throughout the ancient Celtic world in Europe. They are in these long, straight lines. There's a legend that the stones were actually a Roman legion that were turned into stone by Merlin, which is a cool story, but we know how old the stones are. And Rome did not exist when this area was constructed, right? It's a cool idea, though. But yeah, I love the Karnak stones, and of course we're going to look at them and, oh, hi, Tommy, and many other sites when we go to the tablet. In the year 56 BCE, this area was conquered by Julius Caesar, became part of the Roman Empire. It was known as Armorica, which is a pretty cool name. Now, going back to why is it called Brittany? Why is it called that? Well, starting in the 4th century and picking up toward the ends of the 5th and definitely throughout the 6th centuries, there was a huge migration of Britons coming from what's now the UK. You can see if I move this down, England's right here, not too far off, sailing across the English Channel and resettling this area. I say especially during the 6th century because they were fleeing from the Anglo-Saxon invasion and pretty much established an area that would be like a Chinatown today, the area where many immigrants from one part of the world convene and, show their culture and their lifestyle and integrate it into the local way of life and created the Little Britain. Like a Chinatown, essentially. And the name stuck. The language stuck. It's still around today, although it not as strong as it could be because French, for many years, France oppressed the Britain language, but it's still around. They're trying to make it a thing again, kind of like how Wales is making Welsh work, like that. But anyway, the name stuck. Especially by the 9th century when a ruler named Nominoe united all the lands of Brittany, creating the Duchy of Brittany. And he and his descendants fought off many invaders, mainly the Carolingians, who were, basically creating what's now France today, led by Charlemagne. And then the Norse, the Vikings, came and invaded a couple times here. But I do have to note that historic Brittany, the Duchy of Brittany, as you can see on my map here, Brittany extends out to here, did not follow these borders that we have. It stretched out a bit more. You can see, I hope you can see, let me stretch this up again, the city of Nantes, right? You can see, Nantes is right here. This was the main hub of ancient Brittany. At the end of the Duchy of Brittany, this was pretty much the capital where the dukes lived and duchesses. Although they also lived over here in Brest. And just note that, okay, that Most of the interesting history about the Duchy of Brittany happened outside of these borders, so we're not going to talk about it today, unfortunately. It's too bad because it's pretty interesting. We are going to skip to the year 1534 because that is when Brittany officially became part of France. Now, how did that happen? One of the dukes of Brittany passed away without an heir. The next person in line was a woman. Anne of Brittany became the Duchess of Brittany. France was a looming threat to the duchy, so in order to stop them from invading and taking over her land, she wound up marrying the King of France, and in doing so used her influence as Queen of France to protect Brittany and keep it intact. But when she passed away, the French were like, cool, now we can finally take this, and they did in 1534. And of course, it's still part of France today. Also, during that time, in the 1530s, here in the town of Saint-Malo, a man named Jacques Cartier set sail on a few voyages that way toward the New World. And he was the first European since Leif Erikson to land in eastern Canada, sailing down the St. Lawrence River and seeing parts of the world that Europeans had never seen before. This area was always a big naval center, not just for trade, but also for war. In the 1600s, Brest became the center of the French Navy. Great place to set out to sail wherever they needed to send their navy to. Lots of people they'd war with over the centuries. In 1789, the height of the French Revolution, the duchy was abolished. I'm sure that the people in charge of the duchy lost their heads and became a province, I believe, at that time. But skipping ahead to World War II, because this area, until that point, was pretty rural. Again, all of the interesting stuff happened down here in Nantes before this border was established. And it was just mostly farmland and fishermen until World War II. Of course, in 1940, France was occupied by Nazi Germany. And they definitely occupied this, utilizing the shoreline, Navy base for their U-boats, things like that. So this area was heavily bombed by the Allies. Not just because of that, but also, the UK is just right up there. Easy to fly to. Many cities were pretty much destroyed along the coast here. After D-Day, which was just over here, you can see Omaha Beach is right here. The invasion came through here by August of 1944. The Allies were invading this way to take this peninsula. They did so by October. That was the Battle for Brittany. There are many various battles throughout in order to liberate it. After World War II, because like I said, this area was very rural up until that point. It's like Brittany joined the modern world and became much more industrialized, and that's when population really bloomed. That's when Rennes really picked up as a city and became more industrialized, more open for work opportunities, and people would come to this area to work, not just in farms and out at sea in their fishing boats, but doing much more diverse modern labor. Of course, the modern world has impacted this area in negative ways, since many ships travel through this area along the English Channel and Bay of Biscay. There have been at least 2 massive oil spills that occurred off the coast here of Brittany. There have been others in the English Channel that have affected Brittany, but the main ones were up here in the north in 1978 and down here in 1999. Very huge oil spills. that's pretty much where we are in history today here in Brittany. Some other interesting little facts. Um, if you know that French stereotype of a typical Frenchman wearing the stripy shirt with the beret and the necktie, carrying a baguette in wine saying ho ho ho, you know what I'm talking about. Those stripy shirts came from Brittany. The Navy soldiers, for a very long time after the 1600s, wore the stripy shirts. So if they fell overboard, they could be easily spotted. So the soldiers would wear stripy shirts here, and it just kind of picked up in fashion. And now that's a French stereotype, wearing stripy shirts. Also, interesting fact, I think, way over on the other side of the world, there are the Falkland Islands off the coast of Argentina. That's what they're called in English. In Spanish, they are the Islas Malvinas, right? That's definitely what they're known as in Argentina. They were named by Louis Antoine de Bougainville, which, if you learned from the Bougainville video, hopefully the newest country in the world is going to be named after him. But he named the Islas Malvinas after people who live in Saint-Malo. I guess it's the Spanish word, I guess, after, because I'm sure he named it after the people who lived here. In Spanish, that is Malvinas. So the islands are named after people from Saint-Malo, which is pretty cool, I think. But yeah, that is the history and cool facts about this area. Let's head over to Google Earth and see what we can find. There's so many slideshows. I'm just going to show you the highlights. Please, if you live here or have been here, or you go on Google Earth and find some cool stuff yourself, let us know down in the comments other cool places we should look at. I'm going to show you the 3 main cities, maybe some islands, and then we're just going to play in stone circles and stone sites, ancient Celtic sites, because those are my favorite. So let's head over to the tablet and do that. Here we are in Brittany. And of course, let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. So here is France. It's a very kind of iconic shape. So yeah, this big peninsula here is Brittany. And now you can really see just how close this place is to England down here, the UK. Not too terribly far off, right? Then, of course, France is here in Western Europe. You can see bordering Spain and Andorra, don't forget. Germany over here. Belgium up here, which we're going to talk about next week when we go to Brussels. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on Brussels. And then here's the English Channel and the Bay of Biscay out into the Atlantic Ocean. So let's start over here in Rennes. Didn't really talk about Rennes a lot during the history. Because like I said, it was a busy, bustling little town during the time of the duchy, but most of the stuff happened over here in Nantes, right? This was not as important as that. So I really need to show you the old town of Rennes. It's so pretty. And there's one slideshow over here that really shows it off very well, but I have to find it. It's on this road, just randomly. Boom. Rennes Centre Historique. Look at these buildings. How cute is that? So quaintly medieval. And a bit more, quote unquote, modern. A little more recent. You kind of get a little bit of everything here. The old beautiful cathedrals. More modern stuff there next to the old homes. The cathedral. Some modern arts around. This big gateway leading into the old town. Also all cool and medieval. It's a really pretty place. This beautiful woodwork there along the walls. A really weird dolly horse there. Salvador Dali, I'm guessing that must be by. So yeah, you really get a little bit of everything, don't you? This old medieval here with a little bit more recent over here into the more modern day stuff. And here it is all lit up. Very cool. You know what's weird? I'm going through this trying to find all the neat slideshows. And over here is their main cathedral. I think this is the Hen Cathedral. It doesn't have a slideshow. Looks beautiful on the outside. All classic Gothic cathedral here. All the flying buttresses everywhere. No slideshow that I could find. See, what's this? This is for the square out here, not the cathedral. It's the outside of it. I don't know why. Looks like it was going through some repairs right here. I don't know why, but yeah. There's some interesting little slideshows here throughout Glen. The museums are pretty neat. But there's so many other things I want to show you. So we're going to zoom to some other sites. Let's reorient and head to Saint-Malo. This beautiful coastal town, pretty much completely destroyed during the Allied bombing. I think it's at 80% of the city was destroyed. So it's all been rebuilt. It's all better now. Of course, that was so long ago. It's all really been rebuilt. But the interesting part is over here in this old town because it is walled. We love a good, interesting fortress wall around towns. It's really neat. And that classic fortress shape that we're actually going to see in tomorrow's video too in Croatia. There's Jacques Cartier. He was from this town and set sail from this town, probably in a ship very similar to that. Cannons there protecting the town. Of course, there's lovely little beaches as well. Look at this. I'll show you that beach. Over here, this one. Look at all the people that the satellite can see. It's crowded. My goodness, it's a lot of people on the beach this day. This must have been taken in the summertime. And look at these big walls just hovering menacingly over. How busy the beach is. Let's look at the shore. You know I can't resist looking at the ocean. It's my favorite. Little seagull enjoying himself. Sorry about my brother coughing in the other room. There's a little diving place here in this big swimming area. They're about to go. That couldn't be me. But yeah, oh, there they go. That couldn't be me. But yeah, lovely little beach here. I guess this is a better slideshow of the beach. I can't resist a beach. Bon Secours beach. It's very nice, isn't it? I mean, Atlantic Ocean beaches, especially this far north, you've got the Gulf Stream kind of keeping things pleasant, so it's not frigid ice cold, but it's still pretty cold. I've put my feet in the ocean over just across the way over in Margate. It's not pleasant. It's pretty chilly, but not frozen ice. You could still go swimming in it. It's still fine. It's no Caribbean where we just were yesterday, right? Let me see. This is a cool old-timey tower, which is pretty neat. This is a great, medieval tower. Looks like if you had to draw a picture of a medieval tower, it's pretty much what you would come up with, except that we're about to go look at an even better tower over here in Brest. Way better tower. Over here. Check this out. Last time I rehearsed this didn't load properly. This whole area didn't load. And it's still not. I wonder why. This poor part of town, I'm sorry. But here's this great ancient medieval tower. Look at this. Boom. Just a big old tower sticking out there with all this modern infrastructure behind it. And there's just this great medieval classic tower. It's great. Big old concrete bridge there. Statue there of a fisherman about to fall and she's grabbing his shirt. I'm not sure what the story is there. Big old ships there, old and new. But yeah, and across the way is the Chateau de Brest, just built by the Dukes of Brittany. Now a museum, of course, showing off all of this great art, old and new. All this cool mechanical stuff. Very cool. Some submarines, old cannons. There's that tower. It looks like I'm building with the castle kit in The Sims and I just got bored after one point. That's what it looks like to me. No one's invading these walls. Sheer cliff drops. There's also some interesting slideshows throughout Brest here, but like I said, those are like the best. Those are the coolest ones. There is this pillar over here that it says that was stolen from Algeria in 1830, from Algiers during the French invasion. Take it back. Why is it here? What? Take it. We don't need this. I'm sure there's a great spot in Algiers for that weird rooster column. Take it back. You don't need that. That was a long time ago. Your bragging rights are done. You don't have Algeria anymore. Give it back. Alright. Those are the main cities I wanted to show you. Now it's time to have some fun. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's go to Karnak and look at the Aliments of Karnak. The Karnak stones. It is a veritable, I want to say forest, but forests aren't lined up like that. Mother Nature doesn't make straight lines. That's how you know this isn't just any old pile of rocks. This is something much deeper. Pretty remarkable. You have to wonder, why did our ancestors feel the need to do this? Did one guy just like have an idea? Does it mean something? Is it each stone represents something, an event, a person? Because it's almost like a graveyard, right? But the ancient Celts didn't make graveyards like we do today. All the stones here. It's pretty remarkable. You can see it from above too. Oh, it's the tumulus. We'll look at that in a bit. Wait, where'd it go? Oh no, I've lost the Karnak stones. I zoomed in too hard. There, you're over here. Look at them all lined up. Can we see it in 3D? No. They're not very tall or anything. All these stones all lined up. Yeah, Mother Nature doesn't make straight lines like this. So many. Someday I'm going to go here and I'm going to walk alongside every single one. I've walked around the entirety of the Avebury Stone Circle, which doesn't sound impressive, but when I tell you, it's a massive circle. I've done it. I can't wait to walk amongst these stones someday. I don't know when, but I'm going to do it. I love the Karnak stones. Let's look at this one. Big old rock. Yeah, for some reason our ancestors were just like, we're going to put rocks. Big rock. Here. For some reason. Big rock here. Oh, there's some great more Karnak stone pictures here. Look how beautiful that is. I would save that as a wallpaper. It's beautiful. The sky is gorgeous as well. Big rock. Big rock. There. Why? Is it marking a grave or a battle or a festival site? Here's a tumulus. These are really cool too. Reminds me of Newgrange in Ireland. Except these pictures don't really... Oh, wait. Let me see. Yeah. big mounds here. Obviously a much more modern door. There's better examples. You can see more big rock right here. And then dolmens are great. Dolmens is when you take two big rock and put one big rock on top. You get a dolmen. And you can see some cool carvings on these stones. I gotta show you this one slideshow though. I always get distracted because like there's so. Do you see all of them? So many. Where was the really cool one I found? I think this one. Oh, that's Loch Mariacair. But there's another kind of Newgrange kind of site. They make a big hill with an entryway, and you can go inside. And who knows what they were doing in there? Newgrange in Ireland lines up with the summer solstice, so it's definitely some kind of ceremonial site. The ancient Druids had a tradition where, in order to become a full-time Druid, you had to live underground for like 10 years and then be reborn back up into the earth, or onto the top of the earth, you know, from underground, from the belly of Mother Earth. So maybe they were used for that as well. Thankfully, we modern Druids don't have to go through that for initiation. Here's another dolmen. They're everywhere. Cool dolmen. And what's weird is that this dolmen shape, like this looks like Malta. This dolmen shape is found in so many places around the world. So many of our ancestors thought two big rock with big rock on top is great. And we don't know why. I don't want to hear any ancient alien stuff because I don't believe in that one bit. Not at all. But, yeah, just something about that shape makes our brains very happy. Did we look at this one? Limon du Petit Menic. Another row of stones here. All overgrown and cool. Pretty epic. Yeah, some of my favorite stone circle sites aren't the like typical Stonehenge shaped ones, the perfect circles. I like the ones that are kind of messy and overgrown and things like that. I like those. Do we look at this one? Please? Yeah, we looked at that one. They're all over the place. The one I really liked is not popping up. I swear it was like over here somewhere. We'll find it. We'll find it. We'll find it. They're all over the place. I can't say that enough. Here's another dolmen. There's one over here. Rocks with big rock on top. Great shape. Look at this one. This one's pretty good. Of course, now that I'm filming, I can't find the really cool one that I liked. Look, there's a dolmen way over here. On the coast. Wow. Oh, we forgot to look at the islands. Oh, that's interesting. Those are definitely not ancient. I wonder if this is ancient. This is the real one here. People are still making rocks with big rock on top. Maybe it was over here. This is now the stone circle show. Sorry, not sorry. Let's find some more. Let's look at this dolmen. Great. Good stuff. We saw that one. Yeah, I don't really see the one that I thought was really cool. It's over here somewhere. Maybe let's look over here. Oh, look, we got an airplane. That's amazing. I've never seen that before on Google Earth. That's so cool. Oh, here, yep, see, here's a tumulus. Oh, this is a great one. Yes, big mound with the entryway in there. Probably had some cool parties underground, I don't know, but the Celts really loved making these big old mounds. Lots of them in Ireland and here in France. Anyway, let's tear ourselves away from the stone circles for a bit. But you get the gist. They're all over the place. I wanted to show you while we were in Saint Malo this cool island. Oh, I don't think this is it, but that's still pretty cool. That's not the island I wanted to show you. Was it this? The National. Here we go. This cool island. Look at that. A super cool fort built on this island. Anytime an island gets like built into a purpose, I think it's awesome. There's, you know, Church Islands. I've been to Alcatraz Island. It's cool. This seagull thinks so too. Big old fort there. You can see the town from across the way. I think it's neat. I hope you do too. I hope you agree. Let's find one more slideshow. Let's just go random. There's so many amazing little coastal slideshows. They're all over. It's all very beautiful. What if we head more into the mountains here? This looks great. Let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel. Next we're heading, like I said, to Croatia. But there's a lot more super exciting videos coming. Like I said, Brussels is going to be next week. And we have just like, oh look, there's more rocks. So many capital cities are coming up. There's a lot of capital cities that start with B, it turns out. I never realized. We've got Buenos Aires. We've got Bujumbura coming up. We've got Bulawayo coming up. We've got Brunei is going to be next week too. Brunei Muara is the region of Brunei where the capital city is. So be sure to subscribe, because if you haven't seen Brunei in all its glory, it'll blow your mind. Be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Oh, we're crashing. Let me go quick. Please don't forget. Oh, shoot. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Even though you can't see the screen right now, here we go. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you're still awake, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good